Hello everyone and welcome to our channel Holistic Facts. In today's topic we are going to study about biodiversity hotspots. Biodiversity hotspots from the environment point of view are important for every competitive exams, but especially in UPSC exam, because UPSC asks conceptual questions mostly, right? So we need certain clarity in this particular area. Let's see this. What is biodiversity? It is all the different kinds of life you will find in one particular area or habitat, the variety of animals, plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria that make up our natural world. So, anything and everything that is living. So, more the variety, more is the biodiversity. Now, why biodiversity is important for us? Why, rather, maintaining this particular biodiversity is important for us? Because organisms work together in an ecosystem like an intricate web. We understand food chains, right? Let's see this particular figure. In this you can see that there are various food chains which are actually interlinked and dependent on each other. There can be different common organisms or a different or a common process that is going on which is common in different food chains which interlinks them, and this interlinking creates a web which is the web of life, right? So there's going to be a producer, then there are going to be consumers, then there are going to be secondary consumers who are carnivores or the top predators. And you can see that if we consider this particular a food chain, then there's another food chain, and there's always something common in every food chain, right? So we are constantly interdependent, and this is not just for wildlife, this goes for humans as well. We are dependent on nature, we are also dependent on biodiversity, because biodiversity is the most productive sorry, not biodiversity, but the areas with high biodiversity are always the most productive areas, right? And we understand that human beings require all kinds of stuff such as mineral water resources, then we need food and all that we get from nature. So herein we saw this biodiversity supports everything in nature that we need to survive: food, clean water, medicine, and shelter. What is a biodiversity hotspot? As you can anticipate from the name itself, that it is something that is quite threatened, it is in danger. We are losing a lot of species are going extinct, getting completely wiped off from the planet, and these are the areas where this particular loss is happening the most, and hence it is our duty now to protect these particular areas. So biodiversity hotspot was a term, biodiversity, okay, yeah, it was a term coined by, I guess, Myers Monroe. I have not included that point here, you guys can check. So this was in 1980s, okay, and since then our focus has increased on protecting these particular areas. So first, let us see certain general statistics that you need to know. Three-quarters of the land-based environment and roughly 66% of the ocean environment have been significantly altered. And yes, majorly by humans. More than a third of world's land surface and nearly 75% of freshwater resources are now devoted to crop or livestock production. This particular point has been included here because it is important to understand how land use change and over exploitation of water resources affect us, right? Then there's climate change worsens the impact. Climate change, this is like a feedback loop, we understand this. Okay, we exploit land surfaces or ocean resources, right? And wherein we are altering the climate, we are worsening the climate change speed, right? It is increasing, global warming is increasing, and in turn this particular change again worsens the impact of what we are doing on the land. So how do you identify these? These are biologically rich, we established that, and these are at the same time deeply threatened areas on earth. So it is defined by CEPF, that is Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, that there have to be two criterias which have to be met to for a particular area to be a biodiversity hotspot. First is endemism, and then second is it has to be threatened. In endemism, it must have at least 1,500 vascular plants as endemics, which is to say it must have a high percentage of plant life found nowhere else on planet, making this particular habitat irreplaceable. Endemics meaning a particular species should be unique to a particular habitat and found nowhere else on the earth. Then threatened. It must have only 30% or less of its original natural vegetation or habitat left. So more than 70% loss has already happened. And if we want to stop further deterioration in this, we must take certain steps. Understand this. There's these biodiversity hotspots, they represent only 2.4% of Earth's land surface. 36 habitats around the world, representing only 2.4% of the Earth's land surface, but support more than half of the world's plant species as endemics. That is, species found no place else, and nearly 43% of bird, mammal, reptile, and amphibian species as endemics. Again, same, found no place else, right? So, just 2.4% of land surface. Even India represents 2.5% of Earth's land surface. So we need to understand how this small area is important for maintaining biodiversity. We've already seen biodiversity, what is importance of biodiversity, but let us emphasize this because if you have to write answers about this, you need to have a clarity. So without species, there would be no air to breathe. We understand that these biodiversity hotspots and in general forests and ocean life, they act as carbon sinks, right? So if humans ever, evolve to do things in moderation, it is the plants that can help us balance the life, right? So we cannot have air to breathe without them, no food to eat, no water to drink, and there would be no human society at all. We do not understand this living in cities, but we are completely dependent on nature. And as the places on earth where the most biodiversity is under most threat, hotspots are critical to human survival. The map of hotspots overlaps extraordinarily well with the map of the natural places that most benefit people. So, wherever these biodiversity hotspots are, they are the most productive regions in the world, one of the most productive regions in the world. And hence, there is high population of humans as well. There is high amount of human activities here as well to extract minerals, use agricultural land, use the soil, etc. Right? And hence, again, the same thing. This is like a feedback loop. These are the most threatened areas. So this is a map of 36 biodiversity hotspots that are found in the world. We can see from here, okay, it spans almost all the continents have some biodiversity hotspots, except for Antarctica. And then in ocean, there's Polynesia, Micronesia, which is in the Pacific Ocean, right? So there are hotspots in oceans as well as on land. In India, India is part of 4 biodiversity hotspots. Now, biodiversity hotspots are not identified with political borders, but with ecological or ecosystem borders. So, yes, India is a part of 4 biodiversity hotspots: the Himalayas, Indo-Burma region, the Western Ghats, and the Sundaland. You can pause here and look at the locations because sometimes, map-based questions can be asked, and it is important to understand. Then we come to Himalaya. Himalaya includes the entire Indian Himalayan region and Pakistan, Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, China and Myanmar. फॉरेस्ट में देखा जाए तो ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट और ट्रॉपिकल डिसीड्यूस फॉरेस्ट यहाँ पे मिलते हैं. And if we look at animals, then there's yak, snow leopard, red panda, Royal Bengal tiger, Himalayan monal, black bear, tahar and blue sheep. Now we understand that there's a high number of species, like there's a lot of variety, but there are certain species that we need to know, such as the snow leopard or the yak or the red panda, the Royal Bengal tiger. These are the species that you need to uh, like mug up, but I don't think you will need to mug these up because we hear about them so many times that by now we understand that which species can be found where. Okay, we need to know these because many a times it make these species make it to the news. So I have put in certain photos here. This is the snow leopard and this is the yak. The most easy way to remember something is if you visualize those things. So just use Google and look at animals or look at plants and you will never forget them. Then there's Indo-Burma region. It includes entire northeastern India except Assam. Now you need to understand this. exceptions are very important, and these can be asked. Okay, so except Assam and Andaman group of islands. And then Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and southern China are part of this. A wide diversity of ecosystem is represented in this hotspot, including mixed wet evergreen, dry evergreen deciduous, and mountain forests. And if we look at the fauna, fishing cat, giant ibis, Mekong giant, catfish, red-headed vulture, white-rumped vulture. Vultures are really important to maintain our ecosystems. We understand that they clean our ecosystem. They are the ones who can control biological pollution. But then most of the vulture species are now threatened as well. Okay, so these are very, very important. Then two photos I have included here. Fishing cat is very important, right? And these are the cats that can actually hunt in water. And then there's the photo of giant ibis. Fishing cats are also found somewhere, you understand, sorry for that, in Bengal Sundarbans, right? You remember that? And then there are also another characteristic of Sundarbans is that the Royal Bengal tiger there can hunt in water. Okay, that is the only tiger species that hunt in water. So there are so many diverse topics in environment that are so astonishing. We will cover these topics slowly. But now let's move on to the next hotspot, that is the Sundaland. It includes Nicobar groups of islands and Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Philippines. Mangrove forests, peat swamp forests, tropical rainforest, and mountain forests. Then, if we look at the flora and fauna, Rafflesia is one of the most important species here. Rafflesia actually has the world's largest flower. It is not the world's largest plant, but it has flowers that are largest in the world. So here I have given this photo, this particular orange red flower. You can see like there are two kids playing with it, and it is a very large plant. And then there's orchids. Orchids are important, one of the most beautiful flowers. Then Javan hawk eagle, and the Javan is lapwing. This particular here is the Javan hawk eagle. Just appreciate the biodiversity. Then the next hotspot is Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. It includes entire Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. The Western Ghats are home to moist deciduous forest, mountain rainforest, moist deciduous. Okay, so that got here twice. Then there are animals which are very, very important for this particular areas because they are in news a lot of times. Okay, so I have given only those animals which are in news for a lot of times. You need to know these, okay, because sometimes it can be asked in match the pairs, right? Such things UPSC usually asks in match the pairs. So there's Nilgiri tahar, Indian gaur, lion-tailed macaw, Asian elephant, and Nilgiri langur. So these particular animals such as Nilgiri tahar or the lion-tailed macaw or the Asian elephant, you need to understand their IUCN statuses. So we wanted to make this video a little short, and IUCN status does not take any conceptual clarity right now. Okay, it does not need that. So it will be better if you Google it and learn those things. So herein we have given certain photos. This first one is the Nilgiri tahar. Then you can understand how unique these species are by looking at their photos. The second one is the Indian gaur, and the third one is the lion-tailed macaw. Now, whatever human activities are done in extremes, we understand these affect the biodiversity, right? So these are just to name a few the points right now on the screen. Agricultural pollution, such as agricultural runoff, when we overuse rather pesticides and fertilizers, and artificially modified species, they can be very, very dangerous to the habitat. Then land use change goes hand in hand with agriculture and industry. Then air pollution, climate change, industrial activities. We understand this that in industrial activities are harmful directly even to humans, and hence we have big industries on the outskirts. Always we do not see big industries in the cities, right? We see them on the outskirts because the effluents coming from them, the pollution caused by them, the noise pollution, it is all dangerous for human beings as well. And we have the choice to determine where these will be situated, but the animals or the plants or other vegetations, they do not have this particular choice. So it is our duty to determine these areas and protect them. Then there's overfishing. Overfishing is just to say an example. We have done everything in extreme, which we now need to bring down to moderate if we want to continue to live on planet Earth. This is what we called using things sustainably, right? Our future generations should not be worried as to where they are going to get their resources, right? So we need to use these resources sustainably. Then deforestation, we understand this. Deforestation is one of the most important reason why we are losing biodiversity. We do deforestation, and then most of the time when we do afforestation, we do monocropping. That's now how forests are made. Monocropping is one of the most important, again, threat to biodiversity. Then one thing that is not explicitly mentioned here, but we understand this, we know this, the forest fires, right? So forest fires is actually, it is a natural phenomenon. We understand that the many times when the conditions are dry, when there's summer, forest fires or wildfires can spread. But due to human activities, certain areas on earth are being so dry at the times of summer, or so wet at some other times, that these things are getting intensified. For example, in Amazon, we have heard that Amazon rainforest is under threat, right? Last year, so many fires were reported, and it is just that last year it was the peak. Otherwise, every year, forest fires, so many forest fires are reported in Amazon, and most of the time, they're actually uh, ignited by humans to clear the land for forests. Here in India also we understand that there's zoom agriculture, wherein we clear the forests by burning them because that is the easiest way. But that can significantly cause harm to the environment and can spread those wildfires, which we saw in Amazon. Then there's California in the USA, wherein the conditions were so dry, the fires spread like anything. Then there was Australia. Again, in Australia also, it is because of the dry conditions which were always there. Okay, Australia has a great desert in the west region, but these things are enhanced many folds by human. This is what we need to understand. So this was about biodiversity hotspot, and keep learning. Until then, subscribe to our channel to keep on watching our videos. Thank you.